Hi, welcome back. Why did the earlier periodic tables fail? Antonio Lavoisier proposed his theory in the periodic table in 1789. The limitations of this theory were he included light and heat as actually the chemical elements and grouped energy forms as matter. And also, he included the compounds such as alumina, silica, magnesia as elements which are actually compounds of metals and oxygen. And he hypothesized that all acids required oxygen, naming it acid generator. This was proved wrong by the discovery that acids like hydrochloric acid do not contain oxygen. In case of Johann Döbereiner's law of triads, he could only organize a small number of 9 elements in 3 triads into groups. And he could not classify many known elements into any of his triads, rendering the system largely ineffective. For example, he could not explain the atomic mass of phosphorus, which is not the average of nitrogen and arsenic. In case of John Newlands' law of octaves, he could not explain the theory beyond calcium, as the 8th element no longer shared similar properties with the first beyond calcium. He assumed only 56 elements existed and that no new ones would be discovered. For example, when noble gases were found, they became the 8th element and they did not fit into his table. And he placed occasionally 2 elements in the same slot and grouped them with the elements that had completely different properties. For example, he placed cobalt and nickel along with halogens in the same group. In case of iron, he placed iron far away from cobalt and nickel, though they were sharing similar properties. In case of Mendeleev's periodic table, he could not give a fixed logical position for hydrogen as it has both alkali metal properties of group 1 and halogens of group 17. In case of isotopes, though it possesses different atomic mass, they share the same chemical properties, so he had to give different slots. And in few spots, he had to ignore his own mass rule to keep similar elements together. For example, though cobalt has higher mass, he placed it before nickel, which is of lower mass compared to cobalt because it fit better chemically, causing anomalous pairs. And there was no space in his original layout for noble gases like helium, neon and argon, so he had to add group 0 to accommodate them. And he could not integrate lanthanides and actinides series of elements into the main body of the table without breaking the periodic pattern. The table did not account for the fact that some elements can show different valencies in different compounds. However, the limitations in the periodic table proposed by Mendeleev was fixed by Henry Moseley by shifting the basis of the periodic table from atomic mass to atomic number. He used X-ray spectroscopy to prove that the true identity of an element is determined by the number of protons in its nucleus, not its weight. He fixed anomalous pairs. For example, cobalt had the atomic number 27, where nickel has 28. So he justified placing cobalt before nickel. And he also solved isotope puzzles. Though the element has different atomic mass, they have the same atomic number, so they have similar chemical properties. Since atomic number increases exactly by 1 unit, this allowed scientists to predict exactly how many elements were still missing between known ones. Moseley's work led to the modern periodic law. The physical and chemical properties of the elements are periodic functions of their atomic numbers. Follow Nova's Academy for Simple Chemistry. Thank you.